Hi everyone, here's a quick tutorial on identifying levels of prose in academic writing. Prose is writing that's put in sentences. So here's a quick summary of the tutorial before we get into it. Note that academic writing combines three levels of ideas in order to develop the work. And if you can sort these levels of prose, it will help improve your critical reading and make summary writing easier. Before we examine levels of prose in sentences, let's examine the difference between the complexity of words, the difference between abstract and concrete language. So when you're identifying the levels of prose in a sentence, you have to weigh the balance of language, whether the balance of the language is more concrete or more abstract. So you can think of this idea as a dichotomy or a continuum between abstract and concrete. And I'll give you an example. If we take the word creatures, it's a very abstract general term. It could apply to everything from bugs to whales to dolphins to squirrels. If we move along the axis to the right towards the more concrete, we could put mammals. Mammals is a little more specific than creatures. And maybe canines. So canines are kind of mammals, might include wolves and coyotes and dogs. Dogs more concrete again. And if we're moving a little further towards the concrete, Jack Russell Terriers, a particular kind of dog, or my dog Ichiro would be very concrete. So just keep in mind when you're trying to identify the level of complexity in a sentence, you have to weigh the balance of the language on whether it's more concrete or more abstract. So here's the three levels of prose. So the first we'll call primary, and these are the main ideas, the main claims in the writing, usually contain the most abstract of words. We'll call the second level secondary. You can think of these as the subpoints, the ideas that support those primary claims. And they usually contain kind of intermediate level of words. So if we were looking at that continuum that we just showed, kind of more in the middle for the secondary claims. And then the third level we'll call supporting. So these are the specific details that are used to back up the claims. It's the proof for the subpoints. Often this takes the form in academic writing of examples, quotes, or some discussion of the data. Generally these are more concrete words in those sentences. So let's look at a quick example. This is a passage from the essay Climate Change is the Fight of Our Lives, Yet We Can Hardly Bear to Look at It by Naomi Klein. So if we look at this passage and we try to sort sentence by sentence, whether it's primary, secondary, or supporting, whether it's level 1, level 2, or level 3, if we read the first sentence, climate change, meanwhile, is busily adding to the ranks of the rootless every day as natural disasters, failed crops, starving livestock, and climate-fueled ethnic conflicts force yet more people to leave their ancestral homes. I understand it's kind of a complex idea. If we look at the balance of the language in that sentence, it's making a broad claim, but it is also citing specific details. So we're not specific, but natural disasters, failed crops, starving livestock, those are all kind of examples. So I'm more inclined to think it's closer to the supporting level, but it's collecting a bunch of different examples, not just one example. So I think I'd probably put this in the secondary level because it's a claim that's trying to generalize a number of different examples. If it was focused on one particular idea on failed crops and it was to discuss that, then I would call it perhaps a supporting detail. So if we look at the second sentence then, in that start there. The next sentence reads, and with every human migration, more crucial connections to specific places are lost, leaving yet fewer people to listen closely to the land. In this case, she's not using more specific ideas, so she's not talking about livestock or failed crops or natural disasters. So she's not at the more supporting level. She's making a broader general claim. So in this case, we could call this sentence primary level sentence. And if we were doing a summary assignment, we would be focusing on these primary claims in order to collect the points for the summary. Let's carry on to the next short little paragraph and look at the next sentence there. So the next sentence begins, climate pollutants are invisible and we have stopped believing in what we cannot see. This claim, I hope you'd be able to easily identify, is a primary claim. Very broad level generalization. It's a general point. So we'll sort it as a primary level claim. So again, that would be a point that we'd want to focus on if we were doing this summary assignment. The next sentence, when BP's Moncado well erupted in 2010, releasing torrents of oil into the Gulf of Mexico, one of the things we heard from company chief executive Tony Hayward was that the Gulf of Mexico is a very big ocean. The amount of volume of oil and dispersant we are putting into it is tiny in relation to the total water volume. In this case, specific example, specific quote, and so in that case we're at the supporting level. She's trying to support the general point that she made in the previous sentence about climate pollutants being invisible, the fact that we can't see them because the ocean is large and they're only putting a small volume of oil and dispersant to break up the oil into the ocean. So that is a specific level, specific supporting detail. If we go on to the next sentence, the statement was widely ridiculed at that time, and rightly so, but Hayward was merely voicing one of our culture's most cherished beliefs, that what we can't see won't hurt us, and indeed barely exists. Again, Klein in this sentence is backing up a level. So she had a specific detail in the next sentence, gave the example. This is a common technique you'll often see where the writer analyzes or discusses the significance of the quote that they've included. Usually this follows the quote itself, and this is a common strategy you can use in writing as well. So in this case, she's backing up a level to a secondary level sentence because she's trying to analyze what's the significance of the example that she's given. She's not making the broad general claim that she made in the topic sentence of this paragraph, but this is supporting that. So I hope that being able to sort out these levels will give you an indication of how to summarize academic writing, but it also improve your critical reading. Sorting primary, secondary, and supporting levels of prose helps improve critical reading and make summary writing easier. When writing a formal summary, here's the steps. Focus on the primary claims after you've sorted them. Then you paraphrase each primary claim in the order in which it appears in the original source. Combine your paraphrases together, and then trim any unnecessary repetition and add any transition words that would help the flow of your writing. I hope that little tutorial helps you in sorting primary, secondary, and supporting levels of prose in your reading, and that it makes your summary writing easier. Good luck.